Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Maaike. Today we are talking all things JUVIA'S Place eyeshadow palettes. I've decided that in 2021 I'm going to choose one eyeshadow palette family a month and chat to you about that. And we're kicking things off in the new year with JUVIA'S Place, because JUVIA'S Place is simply one of my favorite brands when it comes to eyeshadow, hence the fact that I have quite a lot and I've gotten some more things. I think I last showed you my JUVIA'S Place palettes in my eyeshadow palette collection video, which went live in September, and I've definitely updated what I have here, especially in the Black Friday sales. So yeah, there's a couple of new things here, and I actually have a particular goal, because I said that I'm going to do one of these videos every month where I choose what I call an eyeshadow palette family, so palettes that go together because they are from the same brand, for instance, or from the same range within a brand. And I would like to show those to you. But in this particular case, I'm also hoping to figure out quite solidly what I might want to declutter at some point, because I have quite a lot of eyeshadow, and in the springtime I will be decluttering my makeup collection again, and I sort of want to decide what are my needs to have and what are my sort of like, these aren't really my solid favorites. So we're going to talk about all of the palettes that are lying in front of us today, and we're just going to chat eyeshadow, because ultimately that's one of the things that I love to do, and I know that a lot of you who are following this channel love to chat about eyeshadow too. So that's just the aim here. Let's just have a grand old chat about eyeshadow. Let's go. So I think we're going to start here on the right with these smaller mini palettes and then make our way towards the larger palettes all the way to the left. So these smaller palettes are some of the newer acquisitions in my makeup collection. These are the ones that I haven't used all that much yet, save for this one lying in the front, which is the violets. And this is what it looks like on the inside. And this is a lovely eyeshadow palette. I was very happy with this, but there's only 2 mattes and 4 shimmers in here, so that is something you need to be aware of. However, in terms of a purple eyeshadow palette, I thought it was pretty well done. It's got enough purple for me. I've tried plenty of purple eyeshadow palettes in the past that just weren't all that purple. Save for this shade right here in the middle, which is more like a rose gold. You do get some solid purples. However, I wish there was, perhaps this would be a matte to tie in with some of these shimmers a bit more, because I feel that these two are a little bit more cool toned, whereas this one, for instance, is a bit more warm toned. So I'm very capable of doing a look with this. It's just, I'm not sure whether the color story is truly my favorite. However, I love the formula that's in this mini, and that's why I actually ended up buying some of these other ones, because I ended up liking this one so much. I will be doing some swatches here and there, but not of everything. But 2 shades that I really like are this shimmer and also this matte right here. So that's those 2 shades right there. And they really remind me of 2 of the shades that are actually in the Magic, which is still over there, one of the bigger palettes that I have. They're very reminiscent of the purples that are in that palette, but I feel that the ones in the Magic, like that shimmer, has more of a blue flip, which this one is more like pinky purple, you could say, and this one is also not as blue toned as the one in the Magic. So in case you were wondering how this compares to some of the other things in the line, I do feel it's very unique from that perspective, and because I like this so much. So when I spotted that they were doing another purple palette for their like Christmas, I think this was their holiday collection, the Nubian Royal, and so I wanted to get it too. I feel that this can very nicely complement the violets, so that's kind of why I bought it. Let me put them side by side. So I feel that this gives me some of the shades that I would feel would complement these ones very well. So this bright matte, I think, will go really well with this purple. This more like blue toned indigo kind of purple will go really nicely with that or that. And this deeper matte will go really nicely with this, for instance, as well. This is more like pinky purple to me, so that can go with the rose gold. This shade right here is like a mauvey lilac that can again work as a blend shade for some of these other things to tone it down. So I feel that this is just a really nice companion palette. I do have to say though that the sunset kind of background of this kind of throws me off. It would have probably been better if it had been like a solid yellow. Yeah, that's my gripe with some Juvia's Place palettes, is that the background kind of throws you off. And this does have one pressed glitter. And I'll swatch it for you, because this is not the most offensive pressed glitter on the market by any means, but you know, still it's a pressed glitter, so really Juvia's Place. They seem to be insisting on putting pressed glitters into every single palette they've come out with in 2020, it seems, save for some of these mini palettes, but yeah, it's just not my favorite because of that. But this is still an okay pressed glitter. Like, it swatches okay, it's not too flaky, but it's definitely a pressed glitter, so that's why that's not my favorite. But I felt these other 5 shades work just really well together with the violets. I have yet to put this one on my eyes, so that's one of the things I'm going to be doing maybe this month or next month, to do a look with this, and then also do a look with these combined. That's definitely on the wish list to do that. And because I liked my violets palette so much, I also acquired some more of these mini palettes, not just the purples. I was also intrigued by something else. This was sent to me by a subscriber, the berries, because this was not originally on my wish list. But now that I have this and I've swatched it, this shade right here is stunning. This is a bit deep for my complexion, I have to say. I'm very fair skinned, and this is quite warm leaning. It is stunning, and again, what I envision doing is ultimately putting these two together. So the violets and the berries, again, I think can be a nice companion palette if you want to amp it up a little bit. This on its own, you do get a little bit more depth in this, which I really, really appreciate. And I love this shimmer here. When I swatch that, and also that bright pink, this is like a really stunning berry duochrome. And that matte pink. Oh, can we just take a look at that? Oh my word. I really, really like those shades. But they also came out with something lighter, a bit more neutral leaning. I think over the summertime they released these. And the taupes, of course, you knew I had to get, because I love cool tones, and Juvia's Place doesn't do a lot of cool tones. Is this as cool toned as I had hoped? No. Again, I have yet to put this on my face, but I feel the only 2 shades that are truly cool toned are the ones in the middle. This is quite warm, and also this is more golden, and this is quite warm toned as well. However, I do feel this is really, really great for fair-skinned people. A lot of Juvia's Place palettes are so pigmented, and they are so vibrant, that it can be quite challenging if you have a fair skin tone. So I really appreciate how Juvia's Place as a brand is truly, truly inclusive and just has something for everyone. So let me swatch these 2 shades here, because those are my 2 favorites in this one. Now, I saw a lot of people ranking, especially this Taupes palette, quite low on their like 2021 lists. So I hope that, you know, this is going to work out for me. I did see a lot of people who ranked this quite low were people who had a much darker skin tone than I do. So I think that I might low-key fall in love with this. That has happened to me in the past with other palettes where I've just liked them because I just have the right undertone and the right depth of skin tone to like it. So I'm not sure this is going to be a must-have for everyone. But for me, this is exactly what I was looking for. And then the Mauves. This one was perhaps a little bit disappointing when I first laid eyes on it, because I feel that these 2 shades and these 2 shades, they are a bit samey, dare I say it. Again, I haven't put it on my eyes yet, so I don't know how these perform and whether they will actually look the same. However, I do think this is a nice mauve tone, but it's quite warm toned again. And this duochrome shimmer, it's the only reason why I even like that shade. It justifies owning this palette for me, which I'm not a fan of. I have to say, I'm a little bit against owning a palette just for one shade. But yeah, these are really, really nice. And that pink, it's got like a greenish golden flip to it. I'm not sure if I can make it catch the light enough. And it's out of focus, I think. But yeah, it's just a really, really stunning little palette. Again, I have yet to use most of those mini palettes. And then we're coming into the territory of what I think Juvia's Place probably does best, and it's their 9 pans. The Nomad is lying to the side here because it is, as you can see, just a little bit smaller than the other 9 pans that I have. I'm not sure why Juvia's Place chose to do all these different size palettes. Like, I wish this was just as big as the other ones. I don't know why. It's just a bit of a pet peeve. But I like the packaging of this overall, and this, as you know, is one of my favorites because this is a really great grungy color story. I think that if you're looking for an alternative to the Melt Gemini that is affordable, this is the best alternative on the market. Will it give you the same look, same vibe? No, it won't. But this does give you the grunginess if that's what you're looking for. I could do without one of these yellows for sure. They are a little too samey, but this shimmer in the middle, it's like a gold, but it's got a bit of a cooler undertone. Like, it's so stunning. It's almost as if it's got a little bit of green to it, which is why it works so well. And then, I know not everybody likes my shade description of this shade here. I call this like a baby poop brown because it's just, that's what it is. It's a green toned, mustardy brown, you could say. But, especially on my skin, when you shear it out, it pulls very green. It just does. So yeah, this is one I will definitely not be getting rid of once I do a declutter because this one is very high up the list. I have 2 of their rainbow bright palettes. I've got the Zulu and the Warrior 3. I don't have any of the other Warrior palettes because they're not my kind of color stories. But these ones I did like. Let me lay them out for you, both of them. With these, I prefer the Zulu over the Warrior 3. And that's because these brights work better on my skin tone than these ones do. My main gripe with the Warrior 3 is that you only get 2 shimmers and they're both cool toned, whereas a lot of the mattes you get are warm toned. And that to me just doesn't really go together. I do have to say though that I really like this shade, Karama. It's a gray, but then it has a beautiful like blue flip to it. It's really cool. It's just a really stunning shimmer, so I do really like that, but I don't really feel it goes very well with the rest of the palette. So I would only really be able to use it with like these 4 shades, but these 4, I'm not a warm tone lover, so I don't really know what to do with those. So that's why I prefer the Zulu, because the Zulu just has like the purple that works really well on me. This aqua shimmer, I know, I swatch this all the time. But this all over the lid is just stunning. And then these 2 greens I do really like as well. This yellow works better on me than that yellow. Do you just see that this is just a touch more vibrant? Could also be that this is in blue packaging and this is in white packaging. Just saying. And then you get this like pinky shade. That's again better than these 2 shades. For instance, on my skin tone, that orange works a bit better than this orange toned red. So I feel that overall, this color story just works a bit better on me. And I really like this peach shimmer in here. And also this matte brown is really lovely too. But this is like a pinky peachy shade with a golden flip. Really stunning. So yeah, for me, I definitely think I might actually declutter this because there's only really 1 shade in this palette I love. And I just need to stop holding on to palettes where I only love 1 shade. In terms of brights, I would use the Zulu over the Warrior. However, I've got plenty of other bright palettes. And when I think of a bright eyeshadow palette, I don't necessarily automatically think Zulu. So that's another decision I need to take. So I think when I do my declutter, I definitely want to put like all of my bright palettes together and really sort of make a decision of like my top 5 and keep those, because really once you have 1 rainbow color story, you kind of have them all. So again, I'm not sure these are perfect in terms of bright palettes for me per se, but I do really like the quality of both of these. It's just that the Zulu works a little bit better on my skin tone. So if you're like me and you're fair, then perhaps go over the Zulu and not the Warrior 3 if you are looking for a bright palette from Juvia's Place. And then we're moving on to some Juvia's Place palettes that are my favorites. The next 4 that are coming up, I feel are super unique, but some of these have been discontinued. I think actually, apart from the festival, the other three I'm about to show you can be very hard to find. And they are also more unique color stories, I feel, not only to Juvia's Place, but to the makeup market in general, which is probably why they are phasing them out. I definitely see Juvia's Place going into a slightly different direction this year, especially based on the releases they did in 2020. So I don't think they really have space anymore for this kind of more unique color story sort of situation. But I really like these. These are some of my favorites, if you can still find them. Sometimes these palettes come back in stock for like a hot minute, so you need to, you know, just check out the Juvia's Place website. By the way, that's also where I buy my Juvia's Place stuff from, is their official website. I feel that they have reasonable shipping, and they often do really, really good deals. And yeah, if I just then pay for the shipping, it's as affordable as getting it from a place like Beauty Bay. But they are now no longer sold on Beauty Bay either. I've heard rumors that they're going to be opening a European store. Let's talk about the festival first. So why do I like that one so much? I love these three shades. And if you have a deeper skin tone, I think these may look differently on you, but on me, especially that orange, like these just pull neon if I blend them out. These are two of my favorite bright shades for sure. And then you get that white and this blue. Those two I love. These two work really well as transitions on me, which was a bit of a surprise because when I first got this palette, I looked at this color story and I was like, what do I do with you? But this works really well in the crease. You can brighten things up with some of this. That white. I mean, I'm not a big fan of white shimmers, but hello. And then that blue is just the perfect sort of tealy blue that works so well as a pop of something interesting on the lower lash line. I like that this dark matte, like this dark gray isn't a matte, but that it has shimmer. I love wearing this as a bit of liner. I don't really wear these kind of dark shades unless it's like a liner, and I think that works really well. So yeah, this was definitely one when I first tried it was very much outside of my comfort zone, but just by using it and really sort of trying to make every shade in this palette work for me, I was able to pull some stunning looks out of this. The only shade I could do without is this like champagne-y kind of shade. That is way too dark for my skin tone, and it really doesn't work very well for that. However, it is stunning all over the lid, but this is not the kind of shade that I love using all over the lid. And then we have the Saharan 2. This is like from the packaging to this like very sort of tiled-like design in the middle. I love it. And you get 6 shimmers. We all know we love shimmer over on this channel. And then 3 mattes. And where I think Juvia's Place shimmers are probably some of the best on the market, especially the ones in this palette, this also has a really, really excellent matte in this like burgundy shade. Let me put it here. Like, I swatch this shade all the time. This works really well in the crease for me, and then blending it out with this like warm tone shade as well. It just works wonderfully. This is a very spicy palette though. It's very warm toned. I'm not a huge fan of warm tones, but I feel I can really make that work for me, especially because this peach shade and also this shade here, these are both like duochromes. They both have a bit of a flip to it. So those are really, really stunning, and that's why they work really well on my skin tone. But of course, what I also love is this blue and also that mint shade. I really like the juxtaposition in this palette of these spicy warm tones with those brighter, like almost like turquoisey, like azure kind of blues. Especially this one here. I think this is even better. I'll swatch it just below the one from the festival. You can see that this is just a lot more blue toned, a lot more vibrant. This is more green leaning, and this pulls more like a true turquoise. And then we have that mint shade, which, like, I think this will be actually really nice too if I were to put it with my Tribe palette, which is coming up in a minute. Like, that shimmer is just so stunning. And then we have 2 of my other favorites, the Douce and the Tribe. We all know how much I love the tribe, but the Douce also has my heart. Let's talk about the tribe first. This is a little harder to find. They brought it back all of a sudden in the fall time, so this is one that randomly pops up at times. There's two shades in here that I don't really need, and it's the two oranges, especially the orange tone shimmer. I mean, the matte I can still make work as a crease shade, but this shade is just, you know, it's not my favorite, you could say. This palette really, like, I have it for these 3 shades and then these 4. That's where the palette truly lives for me. This is a really nice, like, grassy green. It's not the best quality, but it works quite well in the crease just to set it up if you want to go for an all green look. I like blending it out with that shade, deepening it up with this one, putting this all over the lid, and you're kind of good to go. You can do a very neutral toned look with this too if you stick to those oranges and the brown. But you can also very easily combine the greens and the browns and oranges in this palette because, again, both of these have a more green toned undertone to them. So this shade here, it's not as green toned as the one in the Nomad. Where did the Nomad go? So let me put these side by side. So I feel like they're very similar, but I feel this is almost, yeah, one of these is a bit more yellow leaning than the other. So this is the one from the tribe and this is the one from the Nomad. They are very similar, I feel, but I feel that this is perhaps a little lighter. It's a little less green almost. This is a bit more, the one from the Nomad is even more green toned. And then you get this teal and also this teal. I mean, we all know we love a good deal of teal over on this channel. So I love these two, pairing these together. And then putting this shade over the lid, because can you just see that green flip it has? And the same goes for that bronzy shade. It's got green. Of course, right now that bronzy tone doesn't look as green, but if you put that with the greens, it will pull up a bit more green. I love putting that all over the lid, like setting up the look with this, putting this all over the lid, and then topping it off with this to make it even more impactful. So stunning. This is such a unique color story, and it's such a shame that they no longer seem to be doing this on the regular. And then the Douce. This is a really pretty pastel-y kind of palette, you guys, especially if you have fair skin. I feel that this works really well. This like pinky shade is really lovely as a crease shade. You get something to deepen it up. You get a fun, bright pop. This isn't as purple as you might think. It is a good matte, but it pulls pinky rather than purpley. It's like a lavender pink, if that makes sense. And this shade here I love too. It's a bit tough to build up, like you need to work with it a bit to build it up on the eye. But this is like, it's a silver, but it's like a dirty silver. It's not like a boom silver. And then the other shades are just really nice in here. I really like this shade to blend things out. This has a duochrome flip. Let me show you that. It's got that pinkiness, so these two pair really nice. Like, this is such a nice little family. And then you can put this, for instance, on the lower lash line. If you want to go brighter, you can put the green on the lower lash line. Like, it's only 9 shades, but I can see myself doing so many different looks with this. But yeah, these are my larger JUVIA'S Place palettes, and this is not necessarily where there are palettes that I reach for a lot, even though I do really like some of these. But these are either color stories that I don't fully live for, or they are just a little bit too big. So we have these two over here. Let's start with the smaller ones. So we have the Saharan, the original, and this is quite possibly, like, if I had to pick a warm tone palette that I love, I think it would be between Urban Decay Naked Heat, the Tartelette Toasted, and this one. And the reason why I like this one so much is it's got warm tones, but it's also light and neutral enough that it works for me. Very often with warm tone palettes, they just don't really work because everything turns into a smoky eye. Save for this black, this is not a very deep palette. And that's one thing I've always loved about it. Again, I'm not a huge fan of warm tones, but this neutrally crease shade is really excellent. If I warm it up even further, I can go in with that orange. If I want to go bright and bold, I can pull in that orangey shade. It's really, really stunning. And this is such a great matte too. Like for how bright this is, do you just see that? Like, whoa. In terms of warm tone shimmers, I like these like cranberry, rose goldy kind of shades that this has. So let me swatch these three for you. Like this is a bit more pink toned. Like this more cranberry kind of shade. And then we have that copper over here. And then a really lovely rose gold. And then we have the Afrique, and the Afrique is definitely one that's on the chopping block. It has been for a while. The reason why I still own this is because I do really like the quality. It's JUVIA'S Place. There are some more unique shades in here. However, this is just not something I reach for. The blue background is just a bit confusing. However, I did use every single shade in this palette, and it's a very good palette if you like to do warm toned looks with something bright. The blue, the green, and the yellow weren't the best quality shades ever, but you can do a full like green yellow look. You can compare the blue and the purple. You get some like more neutrally shades. You got some warmth in here too. So it is quite a versatile little palette, and I do really like this red shimmer. Is just like if this shade could be in this one, this would be even more perfect. Like if I could exchange perhaps this peachy shade for that, put that in here, that probably would have had my preference. And I'm also a bit on the fence about the Nubian too. I like this a lot. This was one of the first palettes I got from them. I think I got these two and then this one in the same order. That was like my first foray into JUVIA'S Place. I've been with the brand for quite some time. And really the shade that stands out to me is this green. And it's got two more really pretty jewel tones in here. But everything else, I'm a bit, but that green. That green. That one I think is again on the chopping block. Before we tackle the two biggest palettes I have, let's talk the Walhalla 2. This I got in the Black Friday sale, so I have not yet played around with this. I'm going to be very honest here. My first impression based on swatches, however, has me nervous for this one. And the main reason is the fact that I got a glitter that I didn't know was a glitter, which is this red over here. I also felt when I swatched it that these rows were just a little too samey, but I kind of got it because it has those blues and greens. But this pressed glitter, it's so awful. And this one too, like you can just see how chunky they are in the pan. These just have flakes in them. Let me look at that. These are so incredibly flaky and sticky feeling that I'm like, ooh, this is nothing like the pressed glitter in the Royal Nubian. You do get one duochrome in here, and this feels super creamy and lovely. It's actually a multi-chrome, not even a duochrome. It's like a warm-toned coppery shade with a green and gold flip. That's how I would describe it the most. I'm not sure if it's like this is like, it's like a cranberry, and then it flips to that greenish gold. It's really going to come down how this side of the palette ultimately performs on my eyes, how much I'm going to fall in love with this. I mean, these two shades are quite similar. These two shades are quite similar. These two shades are quite similar. These shades are quite similar. I don't think that this is something that I necessarily need to keep around. I think I can make it work, but this is just what I'm very undecided about. I very often, like with those mini palettes that I got at the same time, I swatched these and I was instantly in love, and with this I was just like, why did I get this? That's where it stands right now. So this is definitely one that's going to be interesting to see how I feel about it once I've used every single shade. If you have any suggestions on how I can make this work, because you know I buy everything myself, so I don't want to buy stuff just to buy it. But I was really intrigued by that color story, and I was like, but yeah. Two that I know, even though I should reach for these so much more, but two that I can't get rid of are the original Masquerade, and the Magic. I'm still umming and ahhing whether I should just get rid of these and buy the minis, because I think that would make them a lot more manageable and I would reach for them more often. But these two, till this day, kind of have my heart. They're not my favorite colorful palettes for two reasons, and that's pretty much they both suffer from the same problem, and that's that I don't feel that the two sections, like you get a bright section here, a neutral section, warm toned, cool toned. I don't feel you can really sort of mix and match within those sections. So for me, these brights are cool toned, whereas these neutrals are all very warm toned. There's only really one neutral I would reach for here, which is that matte shade, but everything else is just different warm tones, whereas I don't feel I get enough depth and versatility. Like these two are quite similar. I feel that these two are quite similar. These two do sort of like the same thing for me. So when I pull in this palette, I go for those bright, colorful shades. Especially this one. We all know I love this like blue tone purple. Isn't that like the most perfect indigo kind of shade? I also quite enjoy that bright pink. It may actually be the same as the one in the berries palette. It does seem to have a similar vibe. Just like I feel that in the violets we sort of get these two shades. This seems to be making an appearance in the berries. Let me experiment here. So this is perhaps a little bit deeper, because this also has these micro shimmers running through it. Let me see. Oh yeah, I think the one from the Masquerade is a bit brighter. Same here. This gold I would never use, this shade I would never use, so this is the only shade as a transition that really works on me, because everything else is quite deep. This shade to blend it out, so I have a bit more versatility. We get two pinks in here. I think this one would have sufficed. This one I would never reach for. This like taupey, bronzy kind of, it's too golden to really make it a taupe. Like, oh, and then I swatch it and it looks so orange. For this one, it's the top half, this is the bottom half. This is where the palette shines. You get two blues, you get greenish gray tones, like this is more like a teal. Like, wow, this is like such a deep, like, wow. Like that to deepen things up. I love that. These are really, really good, unique palettes till this day. I think nothing can really beat them. However, they do have their limitations, and because they are bigger, I don't tend to reach for them as much as I want to. So yes, thank you very much for watching this video today. I hope it was useful for you, and if you're looking for an eyeshadow palette from JUVIA'S Place, that you now have an idea what is out there. Of course, I don't own all of the palettes because not all of the color stories truly appeal to me, and then I just know I won't get the use out of it. So yeah, help me decide please in the comments down below which ones here would you decide to not keep based on your experience. I would be very curious to know. And if you have any tips on how I can make the Wahala work a bit better for me, then I'm also very interested in hearing that from you. However, I know that this, like, save for these two, but this little stack I know I will never touch. Like, these are just staples in my collection by now, and yeah, this is just, you know, grungy, something soft, something green, something warm tone, something fun. Now they just need to do a good cool tone palette. Can we do that, JUVIA'S Place? Do a good cool tone palette, please. That would be lovely. So yeah, thank you very much for watching today's video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make 3 new videos a week, so I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye!